I'd quite happily get bananaed if it means sticking up for justice. You must be running around with your bumhole tweaking. Hey Gemma. Mods, you can block the account now. We don't want to be around Jonny or Madison. We just thank you. Yeah, imagine changing your name to Crosby, not Jonny. Oh, I love that. I love it. How is everyone today? I had the worst morning. Sammy, it's 100% him. We've managed to track it. Like everything he's putting out, some of the pictures he's put out from what's happened in Spain, like some of the things, it's quite clearly either him or Madison. Yeah, Jonny was just here, yeah, on his Crosby account. We're going to see more and more, right, of these comments and stuff coming through, because there's going to be a big panic, right? Now, they've been telling us for weeks and weeks, Duncan, Dawn, everyone, like, no, Jonny's not been named. Jonny's not the person. There's no names anywhere. But now there is names. There's pictures, there's articles, there's lots of stuff going on today. And I have encouraged all of the family to watch that documentary, because they were told kind of not to, that it was going to have a lot of stuff on there that was going to be very hard. And I have said to them, like, I think it's going to give you hope. I think it's going to, I don't know, I blocked Duncan, I've got no interest in him. I've told the family to do the same. This is a nobody, and the documentary proved it, right? That everything he said the whole time in the John George case, he's been very wrong. So when he's actually said things about me, and he's been like, BBC Spotlight, Who Killed John George. So when he's actually said things about me and been like, oh, look at her, like she's on the wrong side, she's on the family side, like I was right the whole time, like I was right. All the things I said about his body not being moved, that he would have still been bleeding at that crime scene, the things I said about the family, the things I said about, yes, there was pictures on Mally's phone and all this, but it was nothing to do with his murder. All those things I've said was the truth. And I've read the case quite well. So Duncan was actually outed yesterday as part of that documentary as being a hater of the family and not correct about anything. So, it is one of those things. Thank you, Milo. Thank you, Fiona. So we get my main account back tonight at 11:47. Thank you for all the heart me's. And I had to take one for the team because it's my fault. It was my fault last night. So I was just having a look today. There's been loads of articles today about John George and everything because of everything going on. I love how they included me in the documentary. I didn't know I was going to be in the documentary, and then I saw like four different clips of me in the documentary, which I think I came across quite well. I don't think it wasn't some of my videos where I've been like saying things about Dawn and that. It was just like the ones looking for John George and stuff, because when I saw I was in the trailer, I was like, fuck my life. I thought maybe, because if they caught me ranting during a live or something, like it wouldn't have been a good look, would it? But so Paula, we've known for about 6 weeks ago, I think, about 4 weeks ago, I put up the video saying he'd been stabbed first and in the legs. Like I did put up that video. We didn't know he'd been stripped and beaten before all that happened to him. So we don't know what kind of order all that came in. I imagine it was stabbed, stripped, beaten, because he wouldn't have been able to beat him otherwise, and I honestly do believe that's the kind of order we would be looking at. They immobilised him by stabbing him in certain parts of the legs first, and Michael Malley would have known that as a member of the French Legion, like where to do that in order to make sure the man couldn't move. It's a really fucking sad, tragic case, and the more that comes out, the more closer we are to justice. Hey, Kaboom. So they didn't mention Madison yesterday, and a lot of people are really upset about that. I'm not upset about it, and I'm not surprised. Madison is not a suspect at this moment in time. Until she's arrested and more information comes out, she's a witness. So they are not going to put her out in the programme. She's also a young girl, and that's how the programme will be looking at it until they know more. Now, we know from being on social media and TikTok that we've seen a really dark side to Madison and some really tricky, horrific things that she's done to the family, but they won't have seen that. The family knew that they were going to do an investigation. The family weren't part of any of the investigation part of that documentary. They were part of an interview with Billy, kind of speaking for the family back home in Belfast. He wasn't out in Spain. He didn't see all of the kind of all of the investigation going on. So they didn't know yesterday what was going to come out in that programme, the family. They were dreading it. They didn't know if it was going to be grotesque, what kind of pictures it was going to show, whether they were going to blame Jonny. They didn't know. So there wasn't like an element of online rumour or kind of Madison did this. This was very factual about people who have committed a horrific murder and need to be held to account in the court. And they've done that in the right way, because if they'd started baiting out Madison in the programme and stuff, Dan wasn't mentioned either. because at the moment Dan is also a witness. So she is Aries, and that is obviously something that in time will come out in the actual media. But right now they're looking to get the two people who were there at the time that John George was murdered. And it has to be done in a certain way. And they often, with these programmes, have to cover for themselves with things that they say and things they accuse people of or call people certain things, because it is a national programme, right? And you can be sued. I personally think the documentary was done very well. We don't know where Dan is. I've not spoke to Dan for months, for at least a month. I don't know where he is. I don't know when someone last spoke to him. I heard he was missing last time. Then I thought I saw another post. Can anyone jog my memory? Have I seen a post recently saying he wasn't missing, or have I not? Because there's so much going on with so many different cases. I couldn't remember whether I saw that he had him. So Soldier Boy, I don't think that video was as damning as what people say it is, and I'll just be honest. So we have a picture of John George screenshotting weapons from Michael Malley's phone, because we know Michael Malley's a dealer. I'm going to read that, Soldier Boy, because I'm going to tell both sides of the story. So I'm going to read Belfast Live. I've got it open on my phone as we actually speak, and that's like literally, I'll unlock my screen. No word of a lie, we are going to talk about it. Because I do think we need to. And I've always said with the case, like, whenever I see something in the media, we will talk about it. Soldier Boy, I understand that and I appreciate that, and I think we all should be, right? I'm anti any weapon that's going to take someone's life. I don't think that element had anything to do why John George died, though, and it should be talked about. And I did say to a family member yesterday, I'm glad they included it in the documentary, because if they didn't include the documentary, the video of him, and also the weapons part of it, it looks like it's a half-assed documentary that's not telling the truth. We need to know everything that happened to him over in Alicante, everything he did, everything he touched, everything he saw, everything he took. We need to have a full story. So I do think they were right to include that in there, and I think it's conversations we do have to have. And I have never hidden from the fact that these videos do exist, and it is John George in that video. Like, I've never hidden from that, and neither have the family. They've been very honest about criminality, about addiction, and where I am anti-drug, I also am very pro addict in a way, where I still see them as human beings. I still see them as people. I see them as savable. I see them as people with hopes and dreams, and I think I've been one. So I actually can't just say, well, I'm anti all of them. I think there's a light at the end of the tunnel for a lot of people, and I would have hoped that John George would have gone on to live a different life if he had the chance. We'll never know. So it's really sad. So I am going to talk quickly about this article, because obviously people are coming in here expecting me to, and I will talk about it. So Belfast Live have done a article called "John George appears to have been handed a firearm shortly before his death." It says, murdered John George appears to have been handed a firearm shortly. I can't keep saying the word. He was 37. He is who he was. You know what, Soldier Boy, I think that's a really sad way to look at things, because I changed my life massively when I was 36. And my whole life is completely different. I left domestic abuse. I ended addiction. I literally have been clean ever since that. I have a whole new life. I've built a community of 220,000 people that care about, but you prove the rule. Well, I don't prove the rule, because I proved that I changed. I changed, and I went against the rule that I would always be that way. I now help victims of cases. I help crime victims, and I do a lot of things. You're the exception who proves the rule. But I'm not an exception, because the other day we had several people in my life who had changed their lives, who once had been a 10-year heroin addict and now have been 8, 9, 16 years clean. So that's not actually true at all. So, oh, you're on a fake account, so you're just baiting up John George for no reason. Goodbye. I will talk about it all day, and we will make it so that we can talk about things, and we can absolutely address things, because I won't hide from things, but we absolutely need to be yeah, it's gone now. In a video obtained by BBC Spotlight, the West Belfast man appears to be handed the automatic while at a house he was presently in during his time in Spain. The TV investigation broadcaster later this evening has traced John's footsteps, spoken to his heartbroken dad as it pieces together the last movements of John's time in Spain. However, Spotlight has obtained and verified 2 videos recorded inside the house where John spent time. There are 2 videos, with the first appearing to show John looking at a photo of weapons on someone else's phone, which was Michael Malley's, we know that. In the second video, he's believed to have been filmed minutes after the first, and he appears to be handing one. and I have to just say it that way, handling one, because if I keep saying the word, the live will go down. However, Spotlight is, news of the videos emerged after earlier today it was reported the BBC Spotlight documentary will name those suspected in the case. Now, these are not videos that have just emerged. Like, we all saw these videos. Pew pew is a good way. We all saw these videos, right, months ago, like at least 6 weeks ago. We've all seen them. So it's just because it's new to TV. These aren't new, and we have discussed them in detail about these videos. Now, I've never been able to put the video up with the weapon because it includes a weapon. It's not something I wouldn't have posted. I would have talked about it. But to me, if I deep it and think of it logically, you're half off your head, you're in someone's house, and all of a sudden they're showing you pictures of all these like things. I'll talk about that in a minute, Eridif, if you mind me. They're showing you all these things, and you're a man, right? So you're like, fucking hell, look at that. And they're like, I've got one if you want to hold it. And you go, yeah, okay, I'll have a look. And then you're looking in the bullet chamber of that, and you're like, fucking hell. Like, that's what it looks like to me. It's like a fascination of like